I drowned for 30 minutes in water and died. This is my story. My name is Ava. I grew up as a typical American Christian. I attended Sunday school, was confirmed in the church, and embraced the values of being a good person, honest, ethical, and full of integrity. I believed that being a good person was enough, even as I navigated the busy, demanding life of a wife, a mother of 4, and a full-time surgeon, serving as the director of spine surgery at a large university. At that point, my relationship with Jesus felt like just another task on an endless to-do list, one that I simply never had time for. Then, in 1999, something happened that would forever change my life. I died. I spent 30 minutes submerged under 8 to 10 feet of water, trapped at the base of a waterfall. My body was without oxygen, and I knew I was slipping away. But in that moment, something inside me shifted. As I felt the weight of my life slipping through my fingers, I whispered the words, "God, let your will be done." The moment I uttered those words, everything changed. A warmth flooded over me, an intense physical sensation of being held, not just spiritually, but in a way that transcended time and space. It felt as though the very essence of love wrapped itself around me, lifting my fear and pain. There was no longer a struggle for breath. I was no longer concerned with my body, my life, or my to-do list. I was simply, completely at peace. It was as though I was being reassured by the presence of Christ himself. Then I began my life review. First, I was shown every painful memory I had ever carried. The betrayals, the losses, the regrets. But this time, something was different. Instead of simply reliving these moments, I was given an understanding. I saw these memories from the perspective of others involved, their hearts, their struggles, their pain. Even those who had hurt me deeply, who had left scars on my soul, I felt nothing but compassion for them. I understood that their actions had been shaped by their own hurts and fears. In that moment, I realized that God's love is so powerful that there is no room for destructive emotion in its presence. Bitterness, resentment, and anger simply dissolve in the face of His grace. But then came the most surprising part of my experience. I was lifted from my body and brought to a beautiful, glowing pathway. The world around me was vibrant beyond description. Colors were more alive, more intense than anything I had ever seen. Flowers bloomed in hues that seemed to defy the laws of nature, and the fragrance in the air was intoxicating, filling me with a sense of joy I had never known. It wasn't just visual or sensory, it was soul-deep. The beauty was so overwhelming that it felt like it was speaking directly to my heart, filling me with an indescribable sense of belonging, peace, and love.
As I walked along the path, I felt the presence of beings, spirits, angels, or people who surrounded me with an indescribable sense of familiarity. These were not strangers, but people I had known, loved, and been loved by for eons. I felt that they knew me in a way no one on earth ever could. And as we walked together, I felt this overwhelming sense of reunion, a coming home. They were overjoyed to see me, and I could feel their love pour over me, lifting me higher. The joy was so pure, so real, it made my heart burst. In the distance, I saw a gathering, like a great city made of light, and I knew that this was where I was being taken. But as I approached this place, I looked back. I could see my body being pulled from the river, my friends and loved ones frantically trying to revive me. I saw them desperately performing CPR, their faces filled with fear, but I felt no attachment to that scene. I was already home. I was at peace, and I had no intention of returning. Yet, in that very moment, I heard a voice, a gentle but firm voice, that told me it wasn't yet my time. "You have more to do," it said. "You must return." I was reluctant. I had found peace. I had found love. I had found home. But the voice was unwavering, and with it came a vision, a sudden understanding that there were still unfinished chapters in my life story. And so, with a heart heavy with longing, I agreed to return. In an instant, I was back in my body, and the pain of drowning, of dying, returned tenfold. My body ached as though I were being torn apart. But amidst the physical suffering, I held on to the knowledge that I had touched something beyond this world. I knew that what I had experienced was real. And as I recovered, both physically and emotionally, I began to piece together the profound truths I had learned. Over the next several weeks, I continued to have supernatural experiences. I felt the presence of my loved ones who had passed before me, as though they were still walking beside me. I would hear their voices, feel their warmth, and know, without a doubt, that the line between life and death was not as clear as we once thought. But soon, that window into the other side began to close. The direct connection to the divine that had been so vivid began to fade, leaving me with the reality of my physical body and its limitations. Yet, I knew something had changed inside of me, something deep and irrevocable. During my recovery, I couldn't help but question what had happened. Was it a hallucination? A dream? Was it just my brain shutting down as I died? I threw myself into research, reading everything I could about near-death experiences, neurotransmitters, and hallucinations. I explored the scientific explanations, but nothing fit. What I had experienced was not explainable by science alone. It was real, it was spiritual, and that realization changed everything. I understood now that science and spirituality are not opposites. They don't contradict each other. They complement each other. Science answers the how of the world, while spirituality answers the why. And once I understood this, I began to see that what I had experienced was part of a greater reality, a reality where love and grace transcend time, space, and human understanding. But the most profound change in me wasn't the shift from doubt to belief. It was the transformation from hope to trust. Trust is something deeper than faith. It's an active choice to believe that God's promises are true, no matter the circumstances. Trust is based not just on what we've been told or what we read in books, but on our own experiences with the divine. It's knowing in the core of our being that God is real, that He is with us, and that He has a plan for us, one of hope, one of grace. And with that trust came freedom. I am no longer bound by guilt, shame, or regret. I no longer carry the weight of my past mistakes because I know that God sees me completely, my strengths, my flaws, my failures, and He loves me anyway. I am free to forgive myself, and in doing so, I can forgive others. I don't hold on to anger, bitterness, or resentment. I know that if I understood the full story of anyone who hurt me, I would only feel compassion. I no longer worry about the future. I trust that God has a plan for me, one that is filled with purpose and meaning. I am no longer afraid of death because I know that it is not the end. It is just the beginning of a new chapter, a return home. Life has become a journey of joy. I live each day with purpose, fully present, knowing that heaven, the love and presence of God, is always with me, guiding me, holding me. I have learned that heaven isn't just a place we go when we die. It's a reality that surrounds us, a reality that fills our lives with meaning and beauty. You don't have to die to experience this transformation, but you do have to open your heart to trust that God's love is real. You have to be willing to believe that there is something beyond what we see, that God's plan for you is one of hope. And that's why I'm here today, not just to share my story, but to challenge you. Try to prove what I've said wrong. I know you won't be able to, and in the process, your life will be transformed in ways you cannot even begin to imagine. Thank you, and God bless you.